Alright, so today's video is just going to be strictly a tattoo video. It's going to be all about my newest tattoo as well as my past tattoos, and basically just giving you guys some advice, tips, things like that if you're thinking about getting a tattoo yourself possibly. So it could be on the more lengthy side. It might be a little bit longer than normal, but it is going to be very, very informative. So if that interests you, welcome and get comfy, because we're going to talk about tattoos. And just like everything else, just like style, hair color, piercings, everything like that, if you yourself are not into tattoos, you don't like tattoos on yourself, you don't want tattoos, or you don't like tattoos on other people, you think they're a bad idea, you think they're dumb, etc., etc., then this video is not for you, and you can go ahead and exit out and kind of hang out or wait around my channel until I upload something that does interest you. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get on into this. I have quite a list of talking points that I want to touch on here because I asked you guys on my Instagram and my Twitter what questions you guys had for me, and I could kind of answer them throughout the video. And also keep in mind, I am by no means a professional. I am not a tattoo artist. This is just my personal experience and kind of tips and stuff that I can give you from my experiences and my personal what's another word for experiences? My personal experiences. I don't know what else to call it. This is just me giving you advice from my personal experiences, so do with it as you will. This video is mainly going to be about my most recent tattoo. So this is my most recent tattoo. This is my third tattoo, and I got this during my California trip. If you want to see the vlog where I got this tattoo and kind of a little bit of the process, I will link that video on the screen as well as in the description box below. But real quick, it was done at Mi Familia Tattoo in Anaheim, California by Sante, and I will put her Instagram in the description box below. But as you can see, it is Marie from the Aristocats, and I have had this tattoo for about a month and a week, almost a month and like 4 or 5 days. So it's gone through the healing process very, very well. I will get into the healing process, the pain level, all of that. But before I do get into that, I do have 2 other tattoos. It's a Hello Kitty head, and it is tattooed on my hip. I got it when I was 16. It was my first tattoo. And then my second tattoo that I got was a heart behind this ear, and you guys can sometimes see it when I like turn my head. And when I went to California, I actually had Sante kind of like touch this one up a little bit. I got this one when I was 18, and it was just like the traditional just outline of the heart. But I had someone do it that was not very experienced with tattoos, and so all around the outline the color had bled, like it was like blown out, because the person who I went to, like I said, was not experienced. That was the first tattoo they ever did, and I just wanted a simple outline, and I figured that they could practice on me. So when I went to Sante, I asked her to basically just kind of do with it whatever she wanted to make it a little bit cuter. So she did the blue around it to match the Marie tattoo, the blue that you could see in the little background, and then she did fill it in with pink and then went over the heart itself to make it a little bit more heart-shaped, because before it was a little bit wonky and it kind of like had a tail sticking out the bottom like that, so it was a little bit weird. And she did fill it in with pink, but it's not as pink as it was. For some reason, the one color ink my body tends to reject the most, or it doesn't want to take in the most, is pink. When I first had this done way back when, we used pink in the middle, and it just did not take at all. I don't know if it had to do with the type of ink that was used or what. The pink took fairly well on my thigh tattoo though, and it was the exact same ink that she used to touch this up that she used on my Marie one. But I do have 3 tattoos total, and if you guys are seeing like pink on my hands, it was because I was using food coloring and fondant at work today, because I work at a bakery, and I was like kneading the fondant and making little roses and stuff to put on cupcakes. So if you guys see that, that's what that's from. I had been wanting a thigh piece for quite some time. I've actually had like 5 or 6 other tattoo designs that I'd wanted for quite a while. I got this heart when I was 18, so I was itching for a new tattoo, and I wanted one for a while, but I didn't know which one I wanted to go ahead and save for first, because as you guys know, good tattoos aren't cheap, and cheap tattoos aren't good. If you want a decent tattoo, you have to save the money for it and go to a professional to get your money's worth and to get good quality. And so I knew for some time that I wanted to go back to Disneyland, and I set that goal for myself and I worked towards it, and I saved my money for the trip itself and everything like that for a couple years, and I was finally ready to book my trip. I was finally ready to go, and I decided that I was going to get a Disney themed tattoo when I went to Disney. Part of the reason I got the kawaii style that I did was because that's what I had in my brain that I wanted. I wanted something pastel, I wanted something cute, I wanted something my aesthetic. And I'm not going to say all of the artists, but to my knowledge, a lot of the tattoo artists here do not really specialize in the kawaii pastel cutesy style. They're not used to doing those kinds of things all the time. Sure, you know, any tattoo artist could probably take the picture and do the little outline and trace it and put the little stencil on there and just kind of trace around it. You know, any tattoo artist could probably do that, but I wanted someone who had experience with pastel colored ink and just is really good with color work. I knew I wanted to get Marie because Marie is my favorite Disney character, and I knew that I wanted to make it more cutesy than just like her body or just her face. I wanted to do something a lot more girly and just me. I have seen like heart cameo tattoos or just cameo tattoos in general all over the internet, all over Pinterest. Back when We Heart It was a huge thing, I saw them back then, and I remember like saving them and everything and looking back at them and just being so inspired. I knew that that is something that I wanted, and I knew that I specifically wanted a heart because that is my favorite shape. That is what I always gravitate towards. I wasn't gonna get like a star or just like a basic circle, because to me like the circle or oval would be too plain, and the heart, it really spoke to me because a heart's my favorite shape. That I've probably wanted a thigh piece in general for about like 5 to 7 years. I've wanted one for quite a long time. I just wasn't really sure what I was wanting to get until I started really hardcore putting my Disney trip into planning and saving and everything, which was, I want to say about 2 years ago, I started trying to plan everything out and figure everything out. And then that's when I knew, I was like, yes, I want a Marie tattoo when I go. And about, I want to say it was roughly a year ago, maybe, yeah, it was about a year or so ago, I started like researching like kawaii artists in the area of my hotel that I was going to be at. There were a couple artists that are in California that I really, really like. One of my friends gets her tattoos done by an artist in San Diego, but that's in San Diego. Disneyland is in Anaheim, so that would be kind of a trip to go just in itself, and I didn't want to, you know, put that strain on myself, but my mom was going with me, and I didn't want her to have to deal with, you know, maybe renting a car or sitting on a bus for 2 hours or anything like that. So I wanted to do something, go to somewhere that was a lot more convenient. So that's when I got on Google, and this is where I highly, highly, highly encourage you guys. Research your artists. Do hardcore research on them. Look at their work. If they don't have any work to show, ask for it, request it before you even allow them to touch or sanitize the area or anything, before you even consider filling out paperwork, going to the place, wherever, whatever. Ask them for samples of their work. You deserve to see what they're capable of and what they aren't. How I found Sanai was I got on Google and I typed in tattoo shops in Anaheim or something like that, you know, something simple. And like, you know, 5 or 6 different ones popped up immediately, and Mi Familia was the second ranked. And I was like, oh, okay, let me just type that into Instagram real quick. Because when I think of seeing a tattoo artist, I want to see their photos of their work. I want to see what they've done in their past work. So I automatically go to Instagram or Facebook, because Facebook, they usually have, you know, photo posts and everything. So I went to go type in Mi Familia Tattoo. And like I said, this was probably about maybe a year ago, maybe a little bit less. I went to go type in Mi Familia Tattoo to Instagram, and that's when Sanai's account kind of popped up as a result, because she had Mi Familia Tattoo in her bio. And I clicked on it and I started scrolling through her work, and I saw how cutesy and pastel, and come on you guys, she had kawaii in her username. Duh, like hello. Obviously she's familiar with the aesthetic and the pastels and the cutesy things, and she had done Disney work before. I looked at her past works and she had some really cute ones of like the castle, and she had done Alice in Wonderland stuff, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. I love the colors that she uses. It's just gorgeous. You know, she's done good work. I want to say she's been tattooing, I didn't ask her this, but she has been probably tattooing since at least 2007. I want to say that, Sanai, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I remember reading that all the way back down. I was such a stalker when I was going through her page, but that's what you need to do. You need to research. And so I was researching to see like how long she had been in the business for, and I think there was a photo from when she said, oh, back in 2007 when I was an apprentice or something like that. So I knew that she was in the business for like 10 years, and to me that was a positive. Like, that was a great thing. She was within 2 miles of my hotel, so that was another great thing. She has very good color work, color experience. She does Disney, you know, positive, and they very easy to contact as well. She had her phone number in the bio, I think, of her Instagram page, so I just contacted her real quick and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about coming to California and I really want to get a tattoo design while I'm there, and I was looking through your page, I love it. And then I kind of sent her over a rough draft of what I wanted the tattoo to look like, and she kind of just sent me back, asked me how big it would be, and she gave me a quote and all of that stuff, which I'll get into that in a minute as well. But before I get into that, way back when I was like planning out the design itself, I have a friend on Instagram. Her username is Puppy Aesthetic, and she does really cute artwork as well. And she had posted a photo of like an Eevee, the Pokemon Eevee, inside of a heart cameo, and I loved it. I thought it was really cute, and she even captioned it, oh, tattoo idea for myself for the future, hopefully one day I can get this, or something like that. And so I contacted her, and I don't remember when this was. It feels like it was like 10 years ago, but I think it was just like last year at some point. But I said, hey, I have this tattoo concept in my head. I just can't translate it myself. Like, I love your cameo, your heart cameo design, and I would love for you to kind of help me with this concept. And I had commissioned her like once or twice before for artwork, so I knew that she was pretty good at what she did. And I didn't need something that was like really spot on of what I wanted. I just want kind of a rough draft to see what I could get to kind of give the tattoo artist, or just kind of have a picture of it in my head without it being just only in my head. You know, I wanted to be able to show other people what I was thinking. And so I tried to explain it the best I could, and I will put the photo, the original photo right here. This is what she sent me back. And I loved the concept of it. I love how there were hearts within the cameo frame. I loved that so much. I thought it was beautiful. I love the little sparkles. I just went in with a drawing app on my iPad. I don't remember exactly what the app is called. I can go ahead and look real quick for you guys. Procreate. And I think you have to pay for it, but it's like a drawing app. But I went in there and I just kind of like redid some of it, and I tweaked the colors around a little bit, and I think I remember sending it back to her and I'm like, oh, I played with it a little bit, I tweaked the colors around. I I think this is a little bit more along the color scheme I was thinking or something like that. But anyway, so that was the original concept that I sent to Sanai and said, hey, I want this on my thigh, roughly like CD sized, and how much will you charge me for this or whatever. And I think she gave me the original estimate of $200 to $300. And I asked her, you know, way later on when I already had my appointment booked and everything like that, I asked her if she could touch up my ear too, and she said that she could totally do that as well. But back when I got my quote and I made my reservations for the hotel and I bought my Disneyland tickets and I knew for sure, set in stone, that I was going, I contacted her and we figured out a date and a time and all of that stuff, and then she had me put down a $50 deposit via PayPal. So she just had me PayPal her $50 to secure my schedule, or to secure my appointment, to secure my scheduling. So we had decided on the 22nd of September. Now, had I not been able to go on my trip or anything like that, I don't know if I would have been refunded that or not. I have no idea. I can't tell you. You'd have to talk to her yourself if you're interested. Every tattoo shop works differently, so don't take this personal experience of mine to heart, because every tattoo shop works differently, and if you have any questions, just ask your tattoo artists or ask the people there, because sometimes they operate differently than others. So my appointment was booked, all of that stuff. So as far as advice for someone who's wanting to get a tattoo and maybe has never gotten one before, or maybe you have gotten one before and it didn't really go as you had hoped, definitely research artists. When choosing your artist, you want to choose someone who kind of has the same eye for detail or has the same aesthetic style as you do. If you want a cutesy pastel girly tattoo, please go to someone who specializes in that type of work. If you want something that's a portrait, go to someone who specializes in doing portrait tattoos. And also, you don't have to necessarily have a tattoo concept visual to show the tattoo artist. A lot of times you can go in and ask them, hey, I want you to draw something up for me, and then oftentimes they'll draw it up for you, and then you can ask them to make changes to color or details or whatever. So don't feel that you have to have like a visual representation of what you want. It just really, really, really helps in the process if they kind of have a base to go off of rather than just nothing. So if you can, definitely provide some sort of concept, visual concept, whether you drew it yourself or a friend of yours drew it or you commissioned an artist to draw it for you. Also, remember that if you are commissioning an artist to draw your tattoo design for you and you do get it tattooed on your body later, and you are posting it on social media or you're telling people about it, please don't just give the tattoo artist the credit. Please give the original artist the credit as well. Just like me with Puppy Aesthetic, I am continually giving her credit for helping me with the original design, while Sanai is the one who kind of tweaked it a little bit and put it on my body. She still gets credit as well. So please give the original artist, whoever designed it, even if it's just yourself, just say, I designed it, because you're giving yourself credit. Now, however, if you were heavily influenced or you replicate an artist somewhere else and you are claiming it as your own, don't do that. That is horrible. That is bad. Contact the artist directly. Say you're really inspired by them. You want to commission them to draw something up for you, and just go that route, because in the end, it's going to be so much better. You do not want to tattoo someone else's artwork on your body without their permission. That is a slap in the face to the artist. They are not getting any credit whatsoever, and it is a bad idea. So also, when you are asking for quotes, I mentioned that I said that mine would be around CD size. When you are asking for quotes over the phone or over text messages or, you know, Instagram DM even, you can't necessarily hold up your hands and say, oh, I want it this big. If you're in person, yeah, you can be like, oh, I want it about this big or this big. You can kind of show them with your hands how big you want it, but definitely use like universal items that people are familiar with the size of when communicating back and forth how big or how small you want the tattoo to be. The price is going to differ based on the size of that tattoo, so you really want to be specific when it comes to how big it is, because if you get a tattoo that's about CD size, which that's how big she asked me if I wanted mine. Is it going to be bigger than a CD? Because CD, you can kind of hold your hands up. Hold out your hands as to how big you think a CD would be. You know, it's kind of like a universal thing. Everyone knows how big a CD or a DVD disc is because they're all over the place. Everyone knows how big or small that is. Whereas you can say, oh, I want it the size of a tennis ball. Oh, I want it the size of a golf ball. Oh, I want it the size and shape of more of a football, you know, kind of like oval or whatever. You can also use measurements. Just say like, oh, I want it 5 inches by 3 inches or whatever like that. So I kind of already talked about this, but overall my tattoo, for the tattoo on my thigh as well as the touch-up on my ear, I paid $350 US dollars. $50 was for the down payment to kind of secure my spot, and then I paid $300 for the tattoo on my thigh and the touch-up behind my ear. The touch-up behind my ear was really small, so it wasn't like that high of cost, but the one on my thigh, like I said, it's about CD sized and there's quite a bit of detail in it, so it was a chunk of money. Okay, so now fast forwarding to when I had my appointment. I had my appointment, I was scheduled, I went with my mom, we got an Uber from our hotel to the tattoo shop. We went in at 10 a.m. That was when my appointment was scheduled. We went in then, and it was literally 2 miles away from the hotel, so it was not like a long ride or anything like that. The best tips I can give you when you are going in advance is to definitely stay hydrated. Keep yourself hydrated, keep yourself kind of calm. No matter if this is your first tattoo or your 50th, you are going to have butterflies in your tummy. You're going to be nervous. You're going to be freaked out. Oh, is it going to come out like I hoped? Oh, are they going to be good? Like, oh, I hope it heals well. Like, you could have a tattoo come out beautifully, but if you don't take care of it properly during the healing process, it could be ruined. And that's what a lot of people think is, oh, I'm just going to go and get a tattoo and it's going to be hunky-dory if it looks good. No, my friend. No, 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 no. Your tattoo does not look the exact same 30 seconds after it's complete compared to 3 months after it's done and healed. It looks a little bit different. There might be some splotchiness, there might be some patchiness, hence where touch-ups come in. I'm not going to be getting this one touched up. I don't feel like I need to. But that's kind of going on a tangent right now. Let's wrap back around to definitely stay hydrated. And as far as pain goes, I get this question so much, and I see so many people who have tattoos, who get tattoos, who make tattoo vlog videos. There are 1,000 questions that say, did it hurt? Okay, before I get into this, please don't ever take painkillers such as like Tylenol or like heavy pain meds like hydrocodone or anything like that. Do not take any pain medications unless it's in like your mandatory like daily routine and you discuss it with your artist prior to your appointment. They need to be aware whether or not you had taken like pain medications and things like that ahead of time. But don't, because they can thin your blood, and you do not want to be bleeding excessively while you are having your skin stabbed repeatedly with a needle, because as you guys very well know, that is what a tattoo is. They are stabbing you over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. They are creating an open wound in your skin with this needle. And if you take these pain medications such as Tylenol or NSAIDs or what have you, that can thin your blood. Therefore, you can bleed more during the process, which isn't going to be good for anyone, because bleeding means more scabbing, and more scabbing means more peeling of the ink and just horrible, horrible healing process. So even though you would want to take pain meds to kind of help reduce the pain while you're there, it's kind of a myth. I feel like if you were to take them, you still feel it. It's not going to help it any more or any less. So it's kind of pointless to do it anyway. Plus, you want to be 100% conscious and aware of what you are doing and what's going on around you while you are having it done. So stay hydrated, eat something before you go so you don't pass out while you're there, and just kind of maybe bring like a granola bar or a snack, and definitely bring a bottle of of water. And I did also kind of mention this beforehand, but definitely have some sort of visual concept. If you take that with you, have it printed out as well as a backup on your phone, just in case they ask you to maybe email it to them real quick so they can pull it up on the computer, or you have it already printed so they can kind of just throw it up and like trace over it or whatever they need to do to create the stencil work. A lot of tattoo shops only take cash, so also make sure you check with your artist if you can, if they take debit card, if they charge a fee to use your debit card, or if you have to get cash. I got cash before I went down there just out of experience and out of habit. I wanted to pay my artist with cash rather than a card anyway, just because it's so much more direct and they don't have to fuss with all the bells and whistles and machines and everything. And thankfully I did that, because when I got there was a sign that said cash only. So my personal experience, I went in there, and while I was filling out my little paperwork, Sanai went in the back and kind of redrew up the tattoo. I asked her to make it cuter, cleaner, just a little bit more Disney inspired rather than as if it were fan art, you know what I mean? And she did just that. She went in the back, she kind of kept the same color scheme, she just kind of redrew up a little bit. And while she was in the back, I was filling out the paperwork. The paperwork just includes questions like, are you pregnant? Does your body have any reactions or allergies to ink? Do you smoke? Do you drink? What are your allergies? Are you currently on any medications? When was the last time you ate or drank? It just kind of has like that list of things. And then they also ask you for your full legal name, your ID, like license number, and then they scan your ID usually so they can have it on file, and just kind of all of that stuff. And then she came out and she showed me the finished design, which is the one that is tattooed on my body. She showed me that and I fell in love with it. She's like, how's this look? Is this more of what you wanted? I'm like, like I gasped. I was like, yes, that's it. Like, it's so good. I'm obsessed. I love it. Now, right here is where a lot of people are afraid to speak up. Please, 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 please never be afraid to talk to your artists, whether it is a question that you think they're gonna think is stupid. They've heard it all. I can guarantee you, if you have a question, they've probably heard it all, and they will have answers for you. They've probably answered it before, and they will have answers for you. Your artists are your friends. Do not be intimidated by them at all. If you have a question, do not hesitate to ask. If they redraw up the concept that you have, or if they are drawing something just off the top of their head, and there's something on there that you don't like or that you wish was a little bit different, or maybe you want the colors changed, talk to them and tell them you want it changed. And as far as talking to your artist, telling them what you don't like and do like, when they are applying what they call the stencil, it's basically just like a temporary tattoo, if you will. It's kind of like a little sticker. They just kind of like put it on there, get it wet, make sure it's like on there, and then they'll peel it off, and it's just a rough draft of the position and the shape of the tattoo and where it's going to be and all of that stuff. It's as close to the end result as they can possibly get. And they'll put it on your body. So say if you were getting a tattoo on your arm right here, I have a lipstick stain right there, but say you were getting a little tattoo on here on your arm, and they put the stencil on there, and you look at it and you're like, I kind of want it raised up like a half an inch. To you, it may seem like, oh, it's not going to be that big of a deal, but at the end of the day, you're the one who is going to be having this on your body for the rest of your life. And they understand that. Tattoo artists understand that, and they're aware. They want to make it perfect for you, especially if you're going to be recommending them to other people. They want to make sure they do a good job and cater to what you want. So if you want that tattoo like raised up a half an inch or lowered 3/4 or to the side, tell them. And if they don't put it in the right spot the second or third or fourth time, keep repositioning it, because at the end of the day, wherever you want it is what matters the most, not where they want it. It's not their body. It's not going to be on them for the rest of their life. It's going to be on you. So you need to be happy with it, and you need to be comfortable with it. For me, the reason I got mine kind of in the middle, directly middle of my thigh rather than higher or lower or anything like that, it was funny because she put on the stencil and I looked in the mirror. She had me go stand in front of the mirror and the very first placement was exactly where I wanted it. I was so impressed because with my Hello Kitty one, I had to have that one repositioned like 4 times because it was my first ever tattoo and I wanted to make sure it was perfect. But with this one, she got my position of where I wanted it spot on and it was great. And the reason I got it in the middle of my thigh rather than higher or lower is because when I'm wearing shorts, I didn't want the top part of it to be like covered by my shorts. I wanted it to be fully exposed, especially if I'm wearing like shorter dresses and things like that. But yet it's not all the way down my thigh to where if I wear certain dresses, it's still gonna peek through. So I can kind of hide it a little bit. Say if I were to be getting together with my family or going to church or what have you, it's still cover-upable, and I wanted it in the spot that I got it in, and that's basically the end of story. I don't have any other reason. I got it where I did because I wanted it there. And one comment I saw a few times on my videos was, oh, that tattoo is so cute, but I would have gotten it, you know, on my back or on my calf or something like that. And I do want to just address this just very slightly. That's great. You can get your tattoo wherever you want. That's the beauty of getting tattoos. It's your own body and you can stamp that on your forehead if you want to. You can put it on your neck, you can put it on your chest, you can put it on the bottom of your foot. Why anyone would want to do that, I don't know. The pain would suck, but if that's what you want to do with your life, go ahead. It's your body. I'm not going to complain about it. The thing with my tattoos is, besides this one behind my ear, there's kind of like a backstory of why specifically I got it, where I got it. But my tattoos, if they're done really pretty and they're beautiful and I'm so happy with them, I want them to be where I can see them. I want to be able to look at them all the time. And if I got this tattoo on my back, I wouldn't be able to look at it every morning when I roll out of bed and wake up and remember the reason I got it and everything. So especially if it's a tattoo with a very strong, deep, heartfelt meaning to it, you want it somewhere that you can see it and be constantly reminded of it every single day. So that is another reason why I chose to get it on my thigh rather than on the back of my shoulder or, you know, somewhere where I couldn't see it as easily. I did get a question as to why Marie is not filled in white. If she is normally white in the Aristocats movie and in all of her merchandise, she is a white cat. Why was there not white ink filled in? Why is she not white? Why is she skin color? I don't know if you guys can really tell, but her little eyes right here were filled in with white. But as you can see from about that far away, there's not really that much of a difference, and that is because white is one ink that fades so much quicker than others. A lot of the times you will see tattoos that do not have white in them, and that is because either A, they were never filled in with white to begin with, because it's just extra money for you to be paying for more ink, which is pointless because it fades a lot quicker than other colors because it is so much lighter. Especially if it's during the summertime and it is on a part of the body that is exposed to the sun for great periods of time, it will fade a lot faster. She did not fill it in with white. I didn't ask her to. She kind of just did this as is, and I didn't hate it at all because, as you guys can see, my skin is naturally pretty pale, so it all just kind of works out. But if you wanted to request white ink to your artist, I'm sure you could. Just keep in mind that you're basically paying for more ink in your body, and it may or may not fade, especially quicker than the other colors or details that are within your tattoo. Another thing I want to touch base on is the background right here. You can see it's not just a solid color of blue. There are actually several little dots, kind of a lighter blue, darker blue, and a whitish color, kind of blending it all together. And she did that on her own. I did not request that at all. The original artwork you guys saw, it was just a plain blue black background, excuse me, and that's how I thought it was gonna come out. But to be honest with you guys, I am so happy with the way that she did it, because number one, not only does it give the tattoo a little bit more dimension and make it look as if it's sparkling a little bit more, when it heals, Sometimes tattoos that are heavily just one color in one big spot, when they peel or scab, oftentimes it will kind of look a little bit patchy because some of the ink will be kind of taken away if the scabs accidentally like peel off or rip. So the end result is kind of patchy and weird. Whereas when she did this technique, I thought it was really great because I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to heal. And the fact that she did this, if it were to be a little bit more patchy in spots, it would be way less noticeable because of all of the little dots rather than just one solid color. Now we are getting back into the thing where people say, does your tattoo hurt? Did your tattoo hurt? Does it hurt to get it on your foot? Does it hurt to get it on your arm? Does it hurt to get it on your thigh? For me, personally, my opinion, it did not hurt, but that is because my pain level and my pain tolerance is different than someone else's. If you often find pain in just getting your earlobes pierced or even getting a shot or anything like that, if you find that excruciatingly painful, then yes, a tattoo is probably going to hurt for you. Whereas if you're someone like me who can go and get like a lip piercing or get your belly button pierced or something like that, you probably have a higher pain tolerance. So I can't flat out tell you, yes, it's going to hurt, or no, it's not going to hurt. But the one thing I will tell you is that getting a tattoo is more of an annoying feeling than it is a painful feeling. And the best way I can describe a tattoo, the feeling of a tattoo, is a cat scratch that is vibrating. I know that sounds kind of like weird, but it's the most accurate thing I have thought of. Some people say it's kind of like a bee sting. Some people say it's like a cat scratch, but for me, it's like a vibrating cat scratch because when they are putting in the needle, it's going up and down really fast. It's not just like scratching into your skin like this. It's going up and down and constantly like penetrating through a new hole in your skin. So you're constantly feeling that. If you've ever been scratched by a cat, you can kind of feel that it burns a little bit afterwards because of like the poison or whatever in their claws. It's kind of that feeling, but imagine it being like scratching you while vibrating and doing it. Basically, to get the best description of it, you have to experience it yourself so you can really get an idea. And I'm not saying go out and get a tattoo just so you know what it feels like. Be thoughtful when you go out and get a tattoo. Don't go get one just because you want to know what it feels like. Also, another thing is the length of time. My tattoo, I want to say, took about roughly I went through and looked at my photos that I had taken on my phone during the whole process, and I kind of calculated it together. It was about 30 minutes for the outline, which she did in black, and then she went in and did the color work. The outline was about 30 minutes, and the color was about 40 to 45 minutes. So overall, it was between like an hour to an hour and a half for this piece. And oftentimes if you get a huge piece done, like a full back piece or a side piece or a full sleeve, they'll have you come back in sessions and they will do like parts of it at a time rather than all in one like sitting, because a lot of times not only is it an annoying feeling to just have this needle in you for so long, but the artist needs a break. The artist gets tired, their hand gets tired, their eyes start going cross-eyed if they look at something for too long. So you always need to keep that into account too. It's not just about you and how long you're willing to sit there and take it. It's about how long they're willing to sit there and give and put their effort into creating it. So now that we've talked about the experience and kind of the process and everything, I'm going to talk to you guys about the healing process. And there are several ways to tattoo aftercare as well. This is just what I experienced as the traditional way. For my first tattoos, I did the traditional healing method. This tattoo, my most recent one, my Marie one, has a completely different healing process than my last two. I'll just explain the traditional way first, so you guys don't get too confused. Every day, wash 3 to 4 times with cool water and a non-scented antibacterial soap. So I would always use the soft soap. Pat dry with a clean paper towel, preferably, about 3 to 4 times a day. After you have washed it, you want to put on some sort of ointment very thinly. I'm gonna say this right now. For my first tattoo, my Hello Kitty one, I used A&D ointment. Don't ever do that. Don't do it. Don't use A&D ointment on tattoos. Please do not do that. That is the one ointment you do not want to use. I personally had no problem with it, but later on, the more research I did and the more familiar I got with the aftercare process and everything, A&D is a huge no. Do not use it, don't touch it, do not buy it, don't put it on your tattoos. If you are going to be doing the traditional healing method and you are going to be putting an ointment on, I recommend Aquaphor. I have not personally used Aquaphor. This is a brand new tube of it, but it is the #1 recommended ointment that I have heard tattoo artists use. The problem that a lot of people make when using Aquaphor, however, is they put it on too thick. Aquaphor is such a thick ointment, like a thick feeling ointment, that you literally don't even need a thin layer. You need less than a thin layer, just the minusculest amount. A lot of people make the mistake of just lathering their tattoo in this, and then their tattoo can't breathe, and then therefore it doesn't heal, and then color strips out of it, and then they wonder what happened. Don't be one of those people. Be smart. If you're using Aquaphor, use it in very, 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 very tiny amounts. Like this little tube right here, this will easily get you through your whole entire tattoo healing process. This can be bought at like Walmart, Walgreens, places like that, just drugstores. And then once your tattoo would become a little bit more peely, you would stop using the ointment and you would start using a non-fragrance, so fragrance-free white lotion. This is the best one that I've heard of. It is the Derm fragrance-free for daily moisture. They also have a children's version of this, which is a lot, I've heard it's better than the adult one because you know it's made for kids, so it's not as harsh, it's not as damaging as it could be like on a tattoo or something. So if you do find the kids one of the Lubriderm, that is a great option as well, but this one works just as fine, so I've heard and so I've used. Now I'm gonna get into the healing process of my recent Marie tattoo. This was a completely different healing process, so if you want to hear about how I healed it, disregard everything that I just said in the traditional method, because today I'm going to talk to you guys about Saniderm. I will post the link in the description box below, but you can read more about it on Saniderm.com. There are not too many YouTube videos about this, but basically what Saniderm is, it is like a I want to describe it as a cling wrap. It's kind of like a plastic sticker that sticks on your body over the tattoo. But it was originally developed for burn victims to put over their wounds so that their wound can heal underneath of the film so that no dirt or bacteria gets in the wound itself. And when you think about it, yes, a tattoo is an open wound. Like I said earlier, they stab your body many times with a needle and it creates bleeding, it creates scabbing. You're gonna have these fluids coming out of your body. You want it to be able to heal properly without just all scabbing over. People had started using Saniderm to put over tattoos when they are freshly done. My tattoo artist used Saniderm. There is a little clip in the vlog of her applying it, but basically you just peel off one side. It's very sticky. You stick that down to the tattoo and then you peel off the opposite, the other side, like the backing of it. So it just is this thin film that sits right on top of the tattoo. And a lot of people think that, oh no, it's gonna stick to my tattoo, this, that, and da-da-da. The Saniderm does not stick to your tattoo itself. It sticks to the surrounding skin. So as you guys saw in my vlog, I did, however, have a lot of discharge, plasma, excess fluid leaking out. My tattoo wept a lot, and that is normal. For people who haven't used Saniderm or haven't experienced the Saniderm healing method, you still have that excess fluid. It's not going to come out like all in huge massive glomps of fluid and plasma and gross buildup, it's going to come out at its own pace throughout the day. The only reason it looks so atrocious when Saniderm is on is because it's constantly being built up after hours and hours and hours, and the liquid has nowhere else to go to. But with the Saniderm, the fluid kind of builds up and your tattoo weeps. Mine wept very excessively, and that was totally normal. That was simply for the fact that my outline lines, the black on my tattoo was a very, very, very thick. She went very heavy on the lines. They were a lot thicker, and so my body was basically just like rejecting excess ink and retaining some of it. So what your body does is it retains some of the ink, and then it like pushes out the rest that it can't absorb and that it can't hold into its system. So while I had all of that buildup, it's still totally normal. It even does say on the Saniderm website that you put the first film on for the first day and leave it on for a full 24 hours, let it do its thing, and then peel it off, clean the tattoo, and then put on a fresh film the next day, right immediately after you take off the first one, and leave it on for up to 6 days. And that is basically what I did. Mine wept so badly that I went into the tattoo shop the next morning. I got the Saniderm removed. They wiped down the tattoo. They did not clean it with soap and water. They just wiped it down with a clean, dry paper towel, and then they put on a fresh piece of Saniderm. And I left that piece of Saniderm on for about 5 days. Now, while the Saniderm is on, you're not supposed to touch your tattoo, you're not supposed to wash it, you're not supposed to clean it or anything. Just go about your daily life. The Saniderm is waterproof, so you can take a shower just fine. Just do not submerge the tattoo. So no bathing, no swimming, no hot tubs, nothing like that. Nothing that could potentially weaken the adhesive, but you're fine to just shower or, you know, go about your daily life. You can do whatever you see fit. And when you go to take the Saniderm off, that is when the actual kind of hard work of the healing process comes into play, because the first like week you're just letting it do its own thing. It's healing by itself, it's scabbing by itself underneath the Saniderm. Then that way you're not tempted to pick it or touch it or mess with it at all whatsoever. It's just under this film, away from bacteria, away from dirt, away from your picky little hands, because I know that's one of the things that a lot of people do, is their first habit, main instinct to do when they get a tattoo is to pick at it, to pick at the little flakes and scabs, and don't do that. That is horrible. You will instantly regret it. When I went to go take my Saniderm off, it was actually stuck to the tattoo itself. Over time, your tattoo underneath does kind of dry out itself, and that will cause the adhesive of the Saniderm to finally stick to the tattoo. The reason it doesn't stick to it in the beginning, day 2, 3, 4, is because your body is still kind of creating these fluids that come out, whether it be very slight or very minimal or crazy amounts, it's still creating them, so it causes the adhesive to not want to stick to your skin. On the 5th or 6th day, like I said, your skin underneath is drying out, so therefore the adhesion is going to kind of stick in general to the tattoo area. So in order to take the Saniderm off, what I did, I went in the shower and I ran warm water over the Saniderm, and I just peeled it off very carefully. I did the warm water to weaken the adhesion on it so that it would peel a lot easier, and then that way I wasn't peeling off any of the excess ink that was maybe towards the top of my skin. Once the Saniderm was fully peeled off, I washed with cool water. I've heard different things, that warm water affects the ink and cool water doesn't and stuff like that, you know, just myths. But I've always used cool water to clean my tattoos. That's what I've always done. I don't know if that's 100% true or false. It's just my personal preference. So I used cool water and I gently massaged it with the soft soap and then patted dry. And then I applied the Lubriderm lotion. My tattoo artist recommended this directly to me. This is the one that I heard about many times, and this is the one that she recommended to me that I get, or what have you. So this is the one that I got, and basically as far as aftercare went, from taking the Saniderm off then on out, I just put Lubriderm on it whenever I felt it needed it. Some days I would put put it a little bit heavier. Some days I would put it a little bit thinner. I would always put it on if I were going to be wearing leggings or sweatpants or something. I did not wear tight clothing on it for at least 2 or 3 weeks. Like jeans, I didn't even start wearing jeans until like 3 or 4 days ago. As far as like real denim jeans, I would wear stretchy jeans or like leggings so that it could still breathe and everything for the first while. But every time before I put my pants on, before I would go to work in the morning, I would layer a coat of the lotion on it, and I just kept it definitely moist with the lotion because it's already done a majority of its scabbing underneath of the Saniderm. So you don't really have to worry about that from the point of taking the final piece off. You just have to worry about keeping it pretty moist with the lotion. As far as the Aquaphor, I didn't use that at all. The only things that I used for my tattoo was occasionally once in a while to clean it when I was in the shower. I did not use body wash or anything like that to clean my tattoo area. I only used the soft soap antibacterial fragrance free, and then I would just lotion it whenever it needed it. I did experience flakiness on the days that I took my Saniderm off. I experienced flakiness, and with flakiness comes itchiness. Oh my gosh, my tattoo itched so bad for at least, I want to say 2.5 to 3 weeks. It itched so bad. I just wanted to take my claws and just scratch it, but don't do that. If it started itching, I would just put some lotion on it to kind of make the itching die down a little and to soothe it so it didn't feel so dry and itchy, and that helped a lot. So just having the lotion even to aid with itchiness is a great option. I also want to say that if you are going to sleep, definitely wear like loose sweatpants or pajama pants, so then that way if you do scratch the area while you're sleeping, it's not going to do as much damage if there is fabric in between, you know, your claws and the tattoo itself. And also another thing that kind of aided to the itchiness was the fact that I wasn't shaving my leg right there. No matter where you're getting your tattoo, if it's on the top of your foot, on your forehead, on your back, wherever it is, avoid shaving that area until your tattoo is 100% healed. You wouldn't want to shave over a fresh scab or scar or anything like that because it's still healing. You don't want it to get damaged or ruined or hurt. So avoid shaving. I still have not shaved that patch of my leg since I got my tattoo. I'm waiting maybe another week and then I will finally be able to shave that area. But I will say one thing, I will never go back to the traditional healing method for tattoos ever again once experiencing Saniderm. Oh my gosh, Saniderm is a beautiful, beautiful creation, and I am so happy with it. If you have tattoos or you are getting tattoos, definitely talk to your tattoo artist about Saniderm, and if they've never heard of it before, enlighten them, let them know, let them research it, say that that is what you want to do for the healing process. If that is what you want to do, it's not for everybody. Not everybody wants it, not everybody likes it, but for me, I feel like my tattoo is so much more vibrant and just it kept color so well. I couldn't imagine healing it the traditional way. Not to mention with the Saniderm, it was way less painful. I feel like having to wash the tattoo on a daily basis and mess with it all the time and then have constant like hair and dirt get in it all the time was a pain in the butt. Definitely, I am team Saniderm. I have friends that have used Saniderm and they swear by it, and I can see why. It is an amazing product, and I'm not just saying that. This is not sponsored at all, whatever, by Saniderm. I'm just saying it's an amazing product. If you've never tried it for healing your tattoos, you need to, and if you have, let me know your opinions on it in the comment section below. Okay, I know this video is crazy long and it just keeps getting longer, but I did want to cover everything. I have just a few more points that I want to touch base on. As far as the meaning behind my tattoo and whether or not I have any regret for it or about it or anything, I have no regret for my tattoo at all whatsoever. My Marie tattoo, just, I love it. I love it so much. I have absolutely no regret, and it's beautiful. I love it so much. It's exactly what I wanted, and I could honestly not be happier with it. And as for the meaning, I know a lot of people see it and they're just like, oh, you got a cute Disney tattoo because Marie's your favorite, and that's that. No, I got my Disney tattoo when I went to Disneyland for a reason, because I felt like if I would have gotten it anywhere else, it wouldn't have meant as much. Because, whew, okay, growing up, I had first went to Disney when I was 4 years old. I was 4 during my very first trip, and I am currently now 24 years old. So it's exactly 20 years later. I have been a few times in the past. I want to say I've probably been about a total of 5 or 6 times now. And every single time it was my mom who took me. And my dad went the first time that we went. And we went again after my dad passed away. And it didn't really feel the same. It was kind of weird having my dad not there when the first time he was such a big part of my very first experience, my very first trip there. And I remember watching the fireworks show and getting very, very, very emotional because my dad wasn't with us at that time. That was my second trip, and that was after he had passed away. Anyway, fast forwarding to the present, I wanted to go back to Disneyland. And not only did I want to go back for myself, because it had been exactly 20 years since my very first trip, but I wanted to take my mom back because she was the one who had always taken me, and it meant so much. And every time I went to Disneyland, I was so happy, and I always had a connection to Disneyland in California. I'd never been to Disney World. I've never been to any other Disney parks anywhere, just Disneyland in Anaheim. And I really wanted to go back, and I really wanted to give back to my mom and take her because she had taken me so many times. And if you guys are new to my channel, you may not know, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer quite a few years ago, but she went through treatment and she is now cancer free. But she has gone through a lot of health instances and surgeries and all kinds of stuff in these past few years, and I really wanted to kind of just give back to her, you know, give her something exciting to look forward to rather than, you know, dreading like another doctor's appointment, another surgery, another this, another that. I wanted to give her something exciting to look forward to, and she loves Disneyland just as much as I do, if not more, and I really wanted to take her back. So I made going to California and going back to Disneyland a goal, and it started becoming a dream. Like, I started living it in my head. I started thinking about it 24/7. Like, this was like 2 or 3 years ago. I thought to myself, I want to go back. I need to go back. I want to go back. I feel so empty without going, you know? Like, I don't know what it is about that place, but it seriously is just so magical, and it just heightens all of my emotions when I'm there, and I just feel so excited and happy, and I love it there so much. And every time I go back, I always just remember my very first trip when my dad was with us, and it just brings back that kind of sentimental connection. And so I really wanted to go back, and so I put it in my brain that I wanted to go, and I started saving, and I started saving, and I started saving, and I started saving, and like it was like a year or so, almost 2 years, and then I started making my reservations, and I was getting so excited to go, and I made my hotel reservation, I bought my Disneyland tickets, I paid for the plane tickets. This whole trip, I literally paid for everything. My mom maybe bought a $20 t-shirt when she was there, and that was it. Like, I paid for her food, I paid for everything. But that's not even the point of this. That's not even the point of this at all whatsoever. I saved up this money, and I wanted this to be a goal. Like, I don't want my mom to have to worry about having to pay for anything. I want her to experience this again. I want her to have fun, and I made it happen. And I set my mind to it. I gave myself a goal. I went completely and totally out of my comfort zone to make it happen. There was a time where, you guys know, I get paid from YouTube. YouTube is one of my jobs, but YouTube was not going the way I had wanted it to, and they were in a rut, and I wasn't necessarily getting paid as much as I used to, and my bills were suffering from it, and I wasn't able to, you know, make this goal or this dream happen. So I went out and I got my very first real job working at a bakery 6 months ago, which I still have to this day. I work there every single day except the weekends. Saturday and Sunday, I have those days off, but I work there every day, and I got this other job so that I not only could, you know, pay for my bills and everything, because I was in a rough tight spot, but so that I could start putting money away each week, each month, whatever, to go back to Disneyland. And I went so out of my comfort zone, and I had never had a real job before, and I basically kicked myself in the butt and said, if you want something bad enough, you need to work for it. And that's what I did. So I went out and I got a job, and I started, you know, kicking my own butt, and I made my goal happen. And the reason I wanted to get my tattoo when I went to Disneyland specifically is because I wanted to have permanent remembrance on my body that you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to if you just try. And I jumped through hoops, and I went so out of my comfort zone to make something that may seem petty to some other people. Like, they're like, oh, you just went to California, whoop-de-doo, you know, I could do that next weekend. That's not the point. The point is that I had a goal and a dream, and I chased it, and I followed it, and I caught it, and I beat it to the ground, and I made it mine. I was able to save, and because I was able to save and plan for this trip, I was able to splurge when I was there. And that's where the tattoo comes into play. Usually, you know, $300 for a tattoo, that's a chunk of money, but I saved for it and I planned for it. It wasn't just a spur of the moment, oh, I'm gonna get a tattoo while I'm here because it's cute. No, I will cherish this tattoo more than you guys even know. It is so sentimental and valuable to me, and I am so happy that I'm just so happy with it, and I couldn't be happier with it because I'm so happy with it. I don't really know what else to say. It's just, when I look at it, I do get a warm feeling in my heart because I know I'm capable, and I know I'm worth making my dreams come true, and I know never to give up, because if you want something, you just gotta work for it and fight for it, and you can make it yours. Let that kind of be like a little advice type thing for you guys, you know, just if you want something bad enough, it's not just gonna get handed to you. You have to work for it. You have to put in the effort. Like, people were commenting on my Instagram and saying, oh, you're so lucky you got to go to Disneyland. I'm not lucky. I worked for that. I saved for that. I made it happen myself. Don't just sit around waiting for these things to happen. If you want it bad enough, you need to make it happen. People just think I'm like rich and I'm made of money just because I went on this one trip. No, I saved for like two and a half years for that trip. I didn't just pull that money out of my butt and just go. I wish it was that easy, but then again, there would be no feeling of pride or accomplishment if everything was that easy in life. So work for it and build that feeling of accomplishment, because in the end, that is so much more rewarding than just having stuff handed to you. Okay, and the very last thing that I'm going to touch base on are, what are your future tattoo ideas? Do you have future tattoos that you want? Where do you want them? Etc, etc. I want a back piece that is in remembrance of my dad. That one I've had locked away in my brain for quite a long time. I had that back tucked in my brain when I was like 17-ish, and I've still wanted it really bad, but I know that's going to be a couple grand because it's going to be a very big piece. I want to get a breast cancer ribbon, probably on my wrist, for my mom, obviously. And then I want to get a G3 My Little Pony tattoo, and the reason that I didn't get My Little Pony tattoo instead of the Disney one was because I wanted Disney to resemble Disney, you know, all of that stuff. But I haven't decided on a pony that I want to get tattooed yet. My favorite G3 is Dream Blue, but I don't really know how she would come out in tattoo form, so I'm thinking about it. You know, people say, oh, just do Pinkie Pie, but my body does reject pink ink more than other ink, so I don't know if I want to go down that route. I don't know if I want to go down that route, or if a lot of people also have told me, you know, get your own custom pony tattooed on, and you know, I could do that, but I'm just still kind of kicking it around, and until I come to a concrete decision, I don't want to get it tattooed yet. I have already contacted Sante about another tattoo when and if I ever make it down to California again. We already have something lined up for me to get, and that is my quote, except it's going to be in a very kawaii cutesy style. It's not going to be like just lettering or anything like that. It's going to be incorporated into something very, very cutely. We already have it planned out. We already have the concept and everything. So when and if I can ever get my butt back down there, I will be having her do my quote on my body, and I'll probably get that maybe on my forearm or something. I'm not exactly sure where about that one just yet, and I think I'm contemplating getting a matching piece to my Marie one on the opposite thigh of Lady from Lady and the Tramp. I haven't decided 100%, that is not set in stone, but if I do ever get that done, I will be getting it done by Sante. So I don't know where my journey lies as far as tattoos go. I don't know which one I'm going to be getting next, but that's just kind of giving you guys an idea of what I do want to get. They each have, you know, very significant and near and dear to my heart meanings. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I think that's it. I hope that's it. This video was crazy long. What is it, like an hour? I don't even know. I do hope you guys found this video somewhat helpful or informative or anything like that, because I was getting tons of questions on the experience and the pain tolerance and all of that stuff. So I really do hope that this helps, whether you are interested in getting your first tattoo or you just want to get enlightened on the healing process or anything like that, or if you just wanted to hear me ramble for an hour. If this was helpful, or if you know someone who is going to be getting their first tattoo, or they need advice, or they're doing research or something, please feel free to share my video with them. And also, if you have any tattoos of your own, tweet me your photos of your tattoos at Manda31409 on Twitter so I can see them. I love seeing tattoos in general. I think artwork is gorgeous, whether it's on the body, on paper, digital, in a movie, I don't care. I am so appreciative of artwork in general, and I would love to see yours. I am a firm lover of tattoos. I've always loved just the fact that someone can put art on a body. Just is so beautiful to me. And yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna stop talking because I've talked way too much and I need to go to bed soon. I have to work tomorrow. Anyway, yeah, I hope that answered a lot of your guys' questions, and now I'm just talking to talk, so I will talk to you next time. So until then, so long, stay strong, stay true, and be you. Bye!